Well, Donnovan, thank you so much for your time and really appreciate you coming on and chatting with us. So thanks for being here.
My pleasure. And thank you guys for giving me the platform. This will be fun.
Awesome. Well, we have a list of questions here that we kind of put together. We're just, a couple of football coaches. So whenever we have a media guy on here, you got to bear with us, man. We're just, our world's a little different, but we're on here talking football and learning a lot and having a lot of fun. So it's been pretty cool. And again, we appreciate it. So like I said, we have a long list here, and the place we decided to start, as coaches, we're always talking to players and young men and about athletics and the lessons that they can kind of learn from it. So kind of where I wanted to start was, when you're thinking back on your playing days as a football player and, through all your ages, high school, university, what do you think some lessons are that you learned from the sport that you've taken with you to your later life?
It's a great question. And already as the tables are turned and the coaches are asking me the questions, not vice versa, you guys are already doing a better job than I would, because that's a great place to start. I think there's two. And I'll start my answer by saying this. We have like a conversation about the health and safety of our sport moving forward. And what I would call like a debate and a fight on the future of our sport, because many people feel it's dangerous, feel it's not safe to put their kids in it, and feel like, some of the great lessons, life lessons and characteristics that you get from the sport of football, you could get from other sports that aren't as dangerous. And that may or may not be true, but all I know is I can speak to my experience. And I know that my best experiences in my life, the best things in my life, all of them have all come from the game of football. My best friends, my best memories. I met my wife through the game of football. So now, certainly, my child in a way comes from the game of football. Even for me as a university athlete in Canada, the football games were an opportunity for my family to get together, for that sense of communion. And, for in our family, for myself being one of the first to get a university degree, and for my grandparents as immigrants to this country, and my parents as immigrants to this country, my grandparents coming here with very little education, with grade 2 and 3 education from Jamaica, for them to walk the campuses of these universities, to see the manicured lawns, to see these huge buildings, to see all these people getting together to watch their grandson, whether it was myself or my brother, like that was a big deal. That was an accomplishment, in the same way that, getting a degree was an accomplishment. So certainly not just for me, for my family, the sport is really important. And then the culture of the sport is important to me as well, because it impacts the way I think, the way I perceive issues, the way I attack life. And two phrases that are football phrases really, really, stick with me. One of them, and you guys, I'm sure as coaches have said it, the eye in the sky doesn't lie, right?
Yeah.
So and whether it's in a football game or in life, we could come to the sidelines and we could claim something happened, or claim that we didn't get a job done because of X reason. But when we watch the end zone cut and we watch that high cut, we're gonna see what the truth is, right? Like you can't hide. So any excuses that you may have at some point won't matter. What is gonna matter is the sweat equity, the work that you put in, the diligence, the study, so that when you get into that position, you're prepared, so that you can be proud of what the eye in the sky is telling. You could be proud to watch film with the rest of the team. You could be proud of the grade that you get from your coach. So I really take that to heart, that the work is important, not just when in our society, when people are watching. The work's really important when people aren't watching, because that's going to inform what we see when we watch that tape, when we see the eye in the sky, when we break down film. So that's one. And then the other thing for me, is, and again, this is almost a saying about coaches, and I love it. And it's, you're either teaching it or you're allowing it, right? So we say that with penalties all the time, or discipline. You're either teaching it or you're allowing it. Really, to me, it doesn't matter. The outcome is the same. And so, now in this time of reckoning that we're having, when we're looking at corporations, we're looking at different parts of society, to me, you're either teaching it or you're allowing it. I don't really care what the reason is. I'm outcome driven. And so I constantly, when I'm thinking of culture, whether it's the culture I'm setting in my household or with my friend group or at my workplace, that is something that I'm cognizant of. You're either teaching it or you're allowing it. And so how can I not just be passively on the side of a problem? How can I actively be a deterrent to some bad behavior so that I'm making sure I'm having positive solutions? And then this is not a real football saying, but it's the way that I think, and things that I would say to teammates is that, like, are you going to let person eat food off your plate? Like, the thing I love about football is the competition, the depth chart, that it's always understood. You're not just competing with other teams. You're not just competing with the other running backs on trying to be the best in the conference. You're competing with the guys in your own locker room. You're competing for reps. You're competing for opportunity. You're competing to dress or not dress. And so certainly that's personal, right? You could have a great week of practice, and that means you made the bus. And, a starter may have had a terrible week of practice. So that means they lost some reps or they're out of a package. So success is always personal, but you're always competing both internally and externally. And so I, as a football player, was the type of player where I did not want to give up any reps. I wanted to do every rep. I wanted to do everything because I wanted to get better, but I also didn't want to give anyone an opportunity to take something that I've worked hard for. And you can be a great teammate and be a great competitor. Those things are not mutually exclusive. And so the way I look at my career, and it's funny, myself and Tim McCallum talk about this all the time, is like, in the workplace, you can tell, who played sports at somewhat of a high level or who didn't, just by the way they look at things, the way they attack things. And certainly, whether it's an opportunity, an assignment, whose story is going to perform better, I'm encouraging of my teammates and I'm supporting them, but I'm also competing at the same time because, in that saying, like, I don't want anyone to be eating food off my plate. So as you can see, as I've, rambled for 5+ minutes, in many ways, the culture that has really been ingrained in me in playing football for many years sticks with me, even though, I haven't played in a competitive setting for quite some time.